Hi, this is Phil, and I'm here to tell you all about the Capes and Lunatics Patreon. Don't miss out on our comic book creator interviews, including our monthly Chichester chats with comic book legend D.G. Chichester, superhero movie brackets in our search for the worst comic book movie of all time, and many, many more specials, all completely uncensored. Access starts for $3 a month, full video when you pledge $5 a month. Check out the link in our show notes or go to patreon.com/capesandlunatics. Hope to see you there.
This is Luca Perich, and you're listening to the Capes and Lunatics podcast.
Recording has started. I love listening to little Luca there. Hey, friends and neighbors, my beloved countrymen, welcome once again to Super Connectivity. I am your host, Charlie the Professor Esser, and with me as always is the blue-eyed bomber of the Burger Pits. You can call him Podcast.
Hey, Phil, Podcast Perich.
Hey, Phil, Podcast Perich. Welcome to the show. That fits you.
Oh,
That does fit you. We may have to keep that as your name
oh,
if you are inclined. Because, well, Phil does fill me in. He is now the master of the podcasts.
Suck it, Rick.
He's quite important in this little universe we have built before you. Philip. Oh, young Philip. There is a show out now called Hawkeye. I don't know if you've seen it.
Yes.
It's quite popular with the young kids. Not as popular as things like Loki. Which is kind of like, what? Hawkeye's not... It's one of these weird things where it's like... Okay, well, here's what I will say. And, you can listen to Full Stream Ahead, where Maz will give you everything wrong with what we're saying. And he is not wrong. Maz is not wrong. But I do feel that this episode 3, embraces something that Maz criticized in the first 2, and it shows how much this has been built up, how much this was always meant to be the plan. You know what I mean? I really feel like, this is the character we're setting up. This is where it's going. And now we get to see the comeuppance, and now we get to see how it's going to be explored.
Yeah, I heard your conversation about the first episode, and I mean, I get Maz's point, but I always take it like when they make certain characters, like the way he was describing how they, check out Full Stream Ahead, episode 104. But no, the way he was describing Kate, I always take that as like that's like the writers showing it's like, oh yeah, this girl was one young, two, like you said, she comes from money, so she's never, she may think she's had problems, but yeah.
Well, you have to remember that Maz is not he comes from this purely from the art of cinema.
That's the other thing. This is his first exposure to Kate Bishop, too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so, and to be fair, this is a very different Kate Bishop. Because hyper competent people are the norm in comics.
Mm-hmm.
And that they repeatedly show she has feet of clay in this is very telling. And in fact, I think we actually get what I think is one of the best scenes to highlight the real difference between a superhero like Clint Barton and someone who aspires to superheroism like Kate Bishop. And she aspires to it. Right. This is her goal. This is on her vision board. This is what she's working for. She's got her own trick arrows. She's ready for it.
Yep.
But this is the important learning experience that she gets. And when you watch this episode, there's a fight scene that highly reminds me of the Happy Hogan Scarlett Johansson fighting Hydra agents fight scene.
Yes.
Where Happy's no slouch. He's Happy Hogan.
Yeah.
He used to be a boxer, you know? He's a tough guy. And he's really good at what he does. But, you know, against these ninja warriors, he's going to win, but it's going to take a lot out of him to take out one, whereas the superhero, Natasha, is going to be, you know, taking on 10 at a time. And that's exactly what we see. We see Kate holding her own, dodging and parrying and fighting her one guy as Hawkeye fights everybody else. And I think that is what we're supposed to take from this, is that she is learning, you know? She's 22. I don't know what you... Yeah.
And again, I think it's like, you know, like you guys were saying, yeah, she's been training, she's been doing tournaments and stuff since she's 5, but it's like, how competent do you want her to be? You know, she hasn't, you know, she's not Clint Barton. She hasn't been a spy. She hasn't worked for S.H.I.E.L.D., you know.
And also, all of her training was training.
Exactly.
It's the difference between training and fighting. And like as I always say, this is one of the best what ifs ever written. What if Conan the Barbarian had been stranded in the 21st century? And he fights against this guy in a gym who, you know, is much taller, much bigger, much bulkier than him. And, you know, they do their little strength, you know, the strength test where the guy grabs his wrist. And Conan's like, look, I don't know what you're talking about because you're using these, because he's talking about, you know, the power of Africa flows through him and he will not yield to this, you know, little white guy. But he's like, I don't know what Africa is, but I know that there's a difference in the strength one gets between lifting iron lumps and fighting against death. And he does do a throw on the guy, and the guy says, brother, you're okay. It was written in like the late 70s, early 80s, so you got to give it a little slack. But then that's when Conan forms his street gang, because, you know, but there's this idea that, you know, fighting, when you're fighting, is a very different thing than fighting when you're training. And that's what we're getting to. And in this one, we get the other aspect of this, which is someone who trains and trains and trains, which is what Echo does. Because we get to see her with her, she is deaf, she is the one-legged warrior of Queens and of Hell's Kitchen. The one-legged warrior of Hell's Kitchen. There you go. She is ready to fight. And she knows, and honestly, I don't know if they weight class these kids, because we see that the other kid is very dominant, but he is also clearly bigger than every other kid.
Yeah.
And so when she does beat him, it is because of her strength and skill. But you also have to wonder, was this kid being properly weight classed? Maybe that kid's, and actually I would love to see that kid later as a guy who finally got to really step up.
Yeah.
And
well, you know what? As someone who took Taekwondo, you know, they might just have all the kids in one class and all the adults in another class.
Yeah. But you know who that kid actually reminds me of? Okay. Remember Mike Murdoch?
Yeah.
And his he's got his buddy. It would not surprise me if we get a Mike Murdoch in all this. No. And the little Wilson Fisk's kid. And, okay, and by the way, let's talk about the fat man.
Yes.
At the repair shop.
Fat man automobile. Yes.
See, here's my thing is, I don't know if a thing owned by Wilson Fisk would be called Fat Man Auto Body.
I think, like you were saying, they're probably just red herring, giving us big red herrings. It's like, you know, like everyone thought it was going to be Mephisto in WandaVision. It's like, oh, it's going to be Kingpin. It's going to be Kingpin.
But you have to admit that those big beefy hands, look like Kingpins. That sounds like Vincent D'Onofrio's chuckle. Now, here's what I'll say: I can totally buy that they're gonna that they did not get Vincent on stage for this. That they did a guy to do. Can you do a Vincent D'Onofrio laugh? Yeah, I can do a Vincent D'Onofrio chuckle. That's fine. Or if nothing else, they just looped it in. That kind of thing.
Mhm.
Where you got another fat guy to stand there, and that he's not technically in it because they used a body double, just like Harold Ramis in the recent Ghostbusters. And the idea being that, maybe they do want to keep it a little shady for right now,
Mhm.
but they want to establish, like, here's stuff for you fun little nerds to run around and chase. Because we're like cats with a little laser pointer. We're gonna catch that dot. We see the dot. The dot, it's there. I see the dot. I'm gonna get the dot. And that to me is, I feel how they see us, and to be fair, they're not wrong. That is what I'll say. They're not wrong in that assessment of we as a nerdery public. I am a licensed nerdery public, by the way. So if you ever need your nerd content certified, I can put the seal on and stamp it and sign it. Anyway, yeah, I mean, it does seem very on the nose, and a lot more on the nose than any Mephisto reference before this.
Yeah.
So I get the feeling eventually it will be Vincent D'Onofrio, Wilson Fisk. In the same way that eventually it will be Charlie Cox Daredevil, probably, blanking on the actress's name, Jessica Jones. Maybe Luke Cage from The Thing, but he's already in that other show right now.
Oh yeah.
And then some person they'll pick to be Iron Fist. Sorry, man. It's just, or they'll get the same actors back and they'll give them better scripts. We'll see what they choose to do.
Or
I mean, yeah.
Or they just put Shang-Chi in there.
Yeah, they'll put Shang-Chi in there. I mean, well, they'll bring back the Daughters of the Dragon. I mean, honestly, the Daughters of the Dragon were perfect in all the other.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Honestly, we can bring the Daughters of the Dragon back in this just fine.
Oh yeah, didn't Colleen have the Iron Fist?
At one point, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, you don't need Danny Rand.
Well, you don't want to tie it too closely back. That's the thing.
Yeah.
And arguably, anyone can have the Iron Fist, but using the Iron Fist is a little more complex. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know how it works, really. And that's the thing. I think that there are aspects of that series that they're going to try to. It can work, and maybe some other writer will figure out a better way for it to work. But for right now, let's just say that tattoos can fade. That that and here's the thing. Here's what I'll tell you about that. Is it was a different tattoo that Danny has when the dragon burns it into his chest than someone simply applying the carbon into you to make the tattoo. And that carbon and that cheap tattoo might fade, it might wear, it might not have the same power that the burnt in tattoo. That tattoo that is eternal. Because you plunged your fists into the molten heart of the dragon. That is eternal. And any attempt to steal that power, it'll work for a time, but it won't work forever. I mean, there's ways you can work it out, You can. It's like the Infinity Stones. You can wield the Infinity Stones, but if you don't have them right now, they're not very useful. As God Emperor Doom showed us when he fought Thanos. And Thanos was very upset about the fact that he didn't have the Infinity Stones at that moment. You're strong enough to wield the Infinity Stones, but you don't have them right now. So
I was thinking about the Hawkeye episode. You were saying, how you were saying that, we got that flashback of Ronan, killing Echo's father and stuff, and you said Echo doesn't look kind of different. It might be, I don't know if it's Wilson Fisk or someone trying to set up Echo to do something, because in the original Daredevil comic, that's how she gets it. I was just rereading it. That's how he gets her to go after Daredevil. Wilson Fisk tells her, "Oh yeah, I was I was good friends with your dad. Oh, Daredevil's the one who killed your dad. Meanwhile, it was Fisk who killed her dad." So
Yeah, and so here's the thing, and I double checked this. I did double check it. So when you see Grills in the Ronin outfit, you can clearly see the yellow pattern, the gold that we know is part of the Ronin's colors, in the weaving around the hood and on the bodice. And the fact is that when they did this, and they intentionally, I'm gonna tell you this, they intentionally lit this episode so you don't see the gold when they do the flashback for Ronin. But in this one, he is just all black leather, and they even call out all black leather. But anyone that has looked at this outfit knows it's not all black leather. It is gold and black, which tells me that they intentionally want us to think, oh, well, that must be Clint because it's that all black leather hood. But it's not. And I actually think if they really, here's what I'll tell you. If they want to canonize the Netflix verse, they can make it Bullseye. That when Bullseye got better, they gave. Oh no, except that happens. That wouldn't be temporal. That wouldn't work with the timeline, would it? Well, you can buy a ninja. I mean,
but again,
it could be Madame Gao. Quite frankly, she's got a few ninjas in her service.
Yeah. And again, too, I mean, that was Netflix. Who knows if the timelines were worked at,
Yeah. Well, okay. So
wait a second. That series ended that would have been somewhere in that 5 years, wouldn't that?
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, because all the Netflix series ended before the snap, I think.
Yeah, and again, all you have to say it. Yeah, he either gets that.
Yeah, it was in a vague time period. So yes.
Yeah.
So the idea that.
So by the time he heals up and stuff, yeah, it's already after the snap. Yeah.
Yeah, and so we send Poindexter in, and he is obviously he's mad he doesn't get to throw anything, but we know that he has that super accuracy and that he is on that ability. He has that ability to just kill people because he's just that good. And of course, and that's another. That's an interesting thing with this because the sword that, and I think this might even be an interesting aspect of it. The sword that they say is the Ronin sword is retractable to the hilt.
Yeah, like you and Moz were talking about, but in the end game, we never see that sword retract.
Never see it retract, but we also don't see this sword retract. And we do have a very obvious scabbard. Now, the scabbard, I think, was in the original one, but it just seems odd to me that I don't know. Just there's a lot of little things in this that make me think that is someone dressed up as Ronin to associate the killing of, and for what it's worth, it makes sense. So if we do this timeline storyline, obviously the world's thrown into chaos. All these people are trying to control things. 50% of Kingpin's army is decimated. Echo's father was the person running the crew, the first crew that we can argue this is Kingpin's first crew. And then suddenly Kingpin, he's in jail for a time, yada, yada, yada. There's all these problems for Kingpin. And maybe this guy starts to make his move. And when this delightful little character named Ronin shows up, maybe that's super convenient for the Kingpin to say, you know what, I can take out my allies that are getting too big for their britches.
Or how about this? During the snap, what if Fisk got snapped and there's a big power vacuum and someone else sends Ronin in?
Oh, so here's another fun idea. When we first see our tracksuit mafia in this universe, they're all Hispanic.
Ooh.
When we see the tracksuit mafia in the future, they're all Russian.
Yes.
Now, gee, did Kingpin have anyone that he worked with who was somewhat Slavic in origin? Was Vanessa Russian?
I didn't think so.
Maybe not. Okay, so maybe that's a different. But it is an interesting, and this is the thing. And look, here's an interesting fun fact for those who don't know about gang cultures: they do tend to organize around racial and ethnic lines. So that there's, you can have a Polish gang and a Russian gang. You can have a Puerto Rican gang and an Italian gang. You can, for the upcoming West Side Story, you can have these people that are at these edges of society, and they're going to organize along their own lines. And if this gang was originally a bunch of Mexicans or Native American or however they identified persons, and now suddenly it's all a bunch of Russian guys, maybe there's also this idea, which is another idea that's interesting in the concept, that maybe in Wilson Fisk's vacuum, even that guy in that floating spaceship. No, he died before Thanos, right? Yeah, because that was before Civil War. Because we had all of the Black Widows that were out there, although Taskmaster was around.
Mm-hmm.
So, and of course, the mom took over. Oh my God, the villain is the mom.
Could be the dad.
Black Widow mom is the villain who sent Taskmaster.
Oh boy.
To kill in Ronan's name, to try and take over Wilson Fisk's first gang when he disappeared, so that she could then infiltrate it with Russian gangsters and establish her power with her fake husband, Alexei, who's still trying to fight the communist revolution. Because, to be fair,
you know what?
That's really popular right now. The idea that, yes, the workers of the world unite and rebel and overthrow.
Hey, I mean, there's so many ways we could go with this, but I mean, that fake Ronin, I mean, that could be, what's his face, Jack. I mean, he does love swords.
Yeah.
Knows how to use a sword. I mean, maybe he was maybe it's something to do with his uncle.
I mean, yeah. I mean, and in the comics, obviously, the Crimson Cavalier is the first robs from the rich and gives a portion to the poor. Hero that is the swordsman's legacy.
Hey man, you sent Jack in a Ronin suit. Hey, who's gonna get the blame? Who's getting the blame? Ronin. Clint Barton.
Yeah, and it's entirely possible that because they knew Clint, that's the question we're gonna get answered in episode 4.
Maybe they wanted to unite with Fisk. Fisk didn't want to unite. They're like, hey, let's get, if Ronin's not going to attack us, we'll fake a Ronin attack, and maybe then Fisk will, bring us into the fold.
Well, there's also the possibility that has been suggested that Kate's dad isn't dead.
Exactly.
That he was also a master swordsman, and that effectively he's gone into hiding, but now he's killing people as needed, because if you can create this idea. Now, what's interesting is this possibility that the Ronin identity actually existed before Hawkeye took it on.
Yes.
That Hawkeye took it on because he knew of the Ronin, and maybe he put the gold in his costume expressly to say, I know there's a Ronin, I know what he does, but I'm going to be the Ronin who's actually doing it for good. Because I know enough about these people to know that they're doing it for nefarious purposes. There could be so many levels and levels and levels about this. But we've only got, 4 more episodes to go? I think only 3.
3?
What?
It's only 6. Yeah, 3 more episodes.
We got 3 more freaking episodes.
Yep.
So I think we're going to get absolutely no resolutions on any of these questions.
Are we And Elena still hasn't shown up yet, so it's like
I hear rumors she's in next episode.
Okay, but I'm just saying, yeah, we got to get to that too. It's
Yeah, but that's the idea. Is like, it's going to be so many things that are just left unsaid.
or
And I get a feeling it's sort of like White Vision at the end. They're like, dude, we aren't wrapping this up. You thought we were going to give you everything today? No, sir. You eat. You don't get. You can't have your pudding until you eat your meat.
They're either going to wait for a movie, or it's going to be like like the same day that the finale drops. It's going to be like, oh, season 2's coming.
Well, no, and it's not even that. It's just that like we need to fill a lot of content.
Oh yeah.
To be clear to you, I know that you just want to. I know you just want to get your rocks off, fans, but we gotta seduce you. We gotta keep you coming back.
Yeah, we gotta keep you that Disney subscription.
Your rocks off. Yeah, we needed like 3 years to recoup our investment on this. So we need 3 years of Disney Plus. So by season 3, we'll get all the answers we wanted from season 1.
Yeah, we need to give you something after Book of Boba Fett, after House of Harkness, after Loki season 2. Yeah.
Oh yeah, and it'll all be connected. Don't worry, kids. It's all going to come back. But when Max Coulson comes back as an LMD and says no, it never stopped. It was always here, always happening in the background. You just couldn't see it. And then you're like me reading Marvel's number 6. We're like, wait, that character, that was a thing? Oh, I remember that. I read that book. Wait, what? That's something that happened? I know there's more going on here.
Well,
and that's how they get you to go back and rewatch. And that's how you keep on holding on to that subscription.
But if it is Kate's dad behind it, you know where they're going to go after him, right? Young Avengers.
I'm sorry, what?
Young Avengers. That's it,
Oh, Young Avengers.
Continue some stuff. Yeah, I mean, or
I mean, I know Young Avengers will probably happen.
Or Hawkeye starring Kate.
Here's the problem with Young Avengers: is we've got all these. Too
many different powers.
We have Wiccan and Speed.
Yeah.
We have a young Loki. I mean, I guess they could cast a new young Kang. So it's like we can do all that. Oh, by the way, did you see the T-shirts of the stunt crew on Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania?
I saw the headline. I didn't see the actual shirt. No, yeah, is it
okay? Yeah, so we see. So basically, it's like this is obviously like an early poster design, and it's Ant-Man mask smashed in.
Ooh.
And then in the reflection, you see a comics accurate Kang.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's like, it's really clearly that they're setting up that Kang option. And what I find most interesting is a comics accurate Kang, which I think is a bold choice to say the least.
I mean, I think they learned their lesson anymore. It's like, when we need to make these things look as close to the comics as we can.
I think, but the thing is it's hard because even with the Ronin suit, now in the comics accurate Ronin suit, the gold is very pronounced.
Yeah,
it's very muted in the MCU. So I think that is a very important keynote in that. So anyway, want to talk a couple comic books before we head out for the night?
Sure.
Oh wait, did you?
I was looking at that shirt. Okay, I see it. Yeah, Kang in the reflection. Okay.
And the blue and the purple, my friend. The blue and the purple. So did you already talk about Spider-Man Beyond whatever issue it was?
Real quick last night, but I mean we could talk it. Yeah, go ahead. I know you want to talk those last 2 pages.
Well, I'm trying to figure out exactly what's going on with. Honestly, first off, I love that they do call out Kraven being a Kraven coward, and it's like, dude, like freaking veggie burgers and cell phones destroy you. maybe you're not the great mighty hunter you think you are. You know, which is also good. Also, just the fact that, oh yeah, he takes the anti-hangover pill to dismiss the hallucinogen darts. And also just for what's fun. And again, this is what leads me to that idea that there is something so much more deeper to the Beyond Corporation than they're implying. And I do think, and again, I know I'm in the minority on this, but if you think about time as a non-linear construct, you can have the Secret Wars Beyonder to be the juvenile Beyonder, meaning the first Beyonder to look beyond, and have in the past older Beyonders be that same Beyonder who was the first Beyonder to look beyond, and thereby being the juvenile Beyonder. It all makes sense, especially when you get into the idea of the cosmic cubes being that force from the beyond. That the freaking visions are going to be ushering into sentience. And just, it's an interesting concept as you break it down, because if a being existed in all space, all time, and all places, you had a truly omniscient, omnipresent being that suddenly got hit by time and dimension and disparateness of reality, you know, that is going to feed into who you are throughout that entire timeline. So then the minute you touch that timeline, you are throughout that timeline. So from that timeline's beginning in the flat circle to its end, you have always been there, because that is just your nature. You have always been, you always will be, and you are the beyond. And it is a very fascinating concept, which I think Marvel is exploring. I'm not going to say Marvel took that from me. I don't think that was a big leap on my part. I think everything they've ever said about these things, it feeds that any writer worth their grain of salt would have said, oh yeah, I totally make those connections if you come up with that idea. So
I mean, it could be, because I mean, I haven't read a ton of it, but like the one or two other appearances the Beyond Corporation's made, I think they are from like outside the universe or something, you know. So
no, they're definitely from outside the universe.
oh yeah,
that is well
they,
established.
Yeah. So I'm saying could be Beyonder, but
no, it is absolutely, well, like I said, my current fan theory, and this is totally a fan theory, is that these are Beyonders that transferred their beyond consciousness into a human being, but did not transfer as much or enough of their power cosmic into themselves. Which is a fun idea when we go over to, who was talking about power cosmic recently? Oh, it was Iron Man.
oh yeah.
And the Iron Man's understanding of power cosmic as this, and this is this. I don't know who's running Marvel right now, because I think there's some shooter level interconnectivity weaving through all the stories. I think someone out there knows what they're doing. Someone at Marvel knows what they're doing. I don't know who. I don't know who is the grand master behind this. But I guess, you know what? Here's what I'll tell you. It may just be the result of people raised on shooter. And so people like Bendis, that Bendis knows, oh, you connect. And everyone who gets into comics now knows it has to connect to what came before. I can't ignore my continuity. Like, this ain't the days where you could just ignore continuity. You can't just have Captain America show up in the 1960s and pretend like the Captain America from the 1950s never happened. You know, this is the reality of our modern world. Lore is all. Lore is the beginning and ending. Lore is our orthodoxy. That's interesting. Anyway, getting back to, we were talking about comic books. Oh, I was talking about Marvels, which I just talked about. No, we were actually talking about Spider-Man, Amazing Spider-Man Beyond, because it's not. It feels like it's not like a commitment, you know? That's my problem with Amazing Spider-Man Beyond Arc. It's like, this is just an arc. This is all going to be undone. If they had called it Amazing Spider-Man Beyond, like if Beyond was in that title, I'd have much more faith in what they were doing. But it does feel like it's all building towards a great undoing.
Oh yeah.
And that bothers me. Especially when you add in our backup story.
Our end credit scene.
Phil, I know you don't like to wait for the end credit scene. I know you have a very tiny bladder.
It's just Ghostbusters.
But no, yeah, and for what it's honestly, the idea of Aunt May is just this. I mean, honestly, hey, Lilith, there you go, Mephisto confirmed. For Aunt May, she can track down supervillains as if she were the Punisher, because she kept track of a teenage child in Queens. I think many people in Queens can track down teenage child. They can't call up Otto Octavius on their cell phone.
Yeah, but do you think maybe Otto always makes it easy for her to find him? Maybe.
I mean, that is the implication, that
Yeah.
he's got that May fever, man. He's ready for that May-December romance. That's all I'm saying. You know, I mean, yeah, and it is neat, and I love that they draw him to look like Alfred Molina.
Oh yeah, of course. There's a movie coming, of course.
Although here's the thing, I want to see Alfred Molina in a white suit.
Yeah.
I think Alfred Molina would love to wear a white suit.
I hope that's what they're holding back. Did you see, like, they said, like, the screener they showed to the press, they didn't show them the whole movie.
Yeah, I want Alfred Molina in his white suit. I want him to meet Aunt May and say, "Oh, hello, May."
Oh yeah, Marissa Tomei, of course. Yeah.
Oh yeah, even better, quite frankly. But yeah, no, I mean, I really want to see Alfred Molina, and because that is my fan theory, is that the second those Stark nanotech start to infect his armor, which is, oh, that's fun, and Stark nanotech can infect things. Oh. I can't imagine how this will end poorly. And that they fix the inhibitor chip, and that they put him back in control, and then he's now a good guy again. So I think like most of it is going to be that Doc Ock is actually a good guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say, or unless like he rips off a piece of Peter's suit and like he takes the nanotech.
Well, no, I think the nanotech just incorporates itself, because it looks like, because based on what we see in the trailers, the nanotech starts replicating along his arm.
Yeah.
And he's looking at it like, what's going on with that? What's that about? And again, you can't tell everything from a trailer, but that does seem to be the implication. And so the idea that, oh, the nanotech fixes the chip, and now he's a good guy, and that explains why we see scenes of Otto talking to them, these stupid kids, because he's like, you are like 1/8 the smarter man Toby was. And I just, like, I do not know how you and the other Peter Parker, who is cool, can be the same being, because you are so lame.
I mean, if anyone can figure it out, it's Otto. I mean, he's a scientist.
He is. He's the greatest. He's one of the greatest minds in the. He was in the whatever that super science group was. Although, actually, I think he wasn't in the intelligentsia at a certain point, because he realized, like, you guys are kind of stupid. I think he actually like noped out by the end of that World War Hulks thing. He's like, you know what? You guys are kind of stupid. You guys are really obsessed with being the smartest instead of just knowing it like me. A genius doesn't need to prove his genius. He just is a genius. And that is all you need to do. I like Otto. He has had such a great evolution as a character. I think only Killer Croc in the Batman cartoons has had as creative an arc and an evolution as a character. His movie versions, I don't know, has been as good, and I don't know what he's doing in the comics right now. Honestly, I think Killer Croc is kind of like Rhino, where they just they make him to be who they need him to be.
Yeah, no, they did a Black Label book on Croc. It just ended. They were trying to do an origin for Croc. His birth mother may have been an alien. Oh my god.
Well, I mean, but that doesn't. I'm not so worried about where they come from. I'm worried about where they're going. That's the point of a story, Phil. Is that it's not about where you start. It's about where you end up. And Ock has ended up in a lot of interesting places.
Oh yeah.
And really, as Batman's first real villain, which is really, that is his canonical, or he is like the first villain to actually defeat Spider-Man. He's the first one to say, like, "What are you doing, you jumpy little thing?" And he like holds him and he smacks him. He holds him with his
he literally just smacks him.
He smacks him and says, "Listen, I don't know who you are, Spider-Man, but I am going to steal a lot of radiation for reasons or something, because I have a goal in mind." Good old Doc Ock, yeah. So anyway, so I'm looking forward to whatever that subplot, B-plot is of the Aunt May Otto rekindled romance, and maybe Otto really does everything for Aunt May, I mean, she's a capable woman, especially the modern Aunt May. That's the thing. It's like modern Ock, modern Aunt May. That's like
power couple.
That's a power couple, yeah. Just like it says in the ad, They're definitely pushing that Spider stuff, the Black Cat, Mary Jane, Black Cat, Red Cat team up.
Yeah. Well, again, too, not only is there a movie coming next year, is Spider-Man's 60th anniversary, so.
I don't think Sony is smart enough to use what they have.
Oh no, that's why they're going to keep partnering with Disney. Yeah,
well, exactly. I mean, that's the thing. I think Disney says, "Look, we can tell you when it's time to do Superior Spider-Man, and when to hold back."
Mm-hmm.
Because again, like Kingpin and Hawkeye, I know you want to blow the load. I know you want to say, "It's Kingpin confirmed, and he's also Mephisto," and then it's the Ragnarok and the Thing. And that's the thing. It's like, no, you can't do it that way. You can't just give everything away the first season. Because we want them to come back and buy more comics, yes? We want them to come back and watch more TV, yes?
Well, that's what I said. They're just like, hey, do you want to keep making money? Hey, so do we. Just do what we say.
Yeah, just shh. Just keep it chill. And we'll talk about it.
Just shut up and look pretty, Sony. Yes, we will make you money, yes.
We'll make you all kinds of money. Here's a book, Winter Guard.
Oh.
Speaking of shut up and make some money. Honestly, I really love this book. This is a book about intrigue and double crossing and triple crossing and septuple crossing. And I don't even know how to break it down, but basically, you get so many great arcs in this. Chernabog has a heroic arc in this. You know, Night at Bald Mountain in Fantasia? That big monster that rises up that is all of evil itself. That is Chernabog. Chernabog likes Stark because she's us, and you're the light within the darkness, and we love you. And it is so beautiful in its protection of Chernabog. Will not let Perun attack her. Perun, of course, is the spirit of the Great Lake of Siberia, and actually a god of storms, and feels the pain of the Russian people, through all of the things they're going. I mean, oh, this is beautiful. Look, they're doing fancy artwork.
Ooh.
I assume it's Russian. I don't know, but I'm gonna take it as it's given to me because I'm sitting here going, "This is beautiful. It is beautiful how they're structuring the story, like a Fabergé egg within itself. I mean, honestly, it's like a Russian dolls of Fabergé eggs. That's what this book is like." And the only thing I don't immediately like is they gave Red Guardian a boomerang. I don't know what's going on with that.
Oh my.
Boomerangs don't even work like that. You can't knock someone out with a boomerang and then have the boomerang come back to you. I know comics and Captain Boomerang does it all the time. You know, we even get this whole thing with. So, for those who don't recall, the whole plotline was Red Guardian is going to reveal all the secrets of the oligarchs and destroy the world because everyone's going to realize that, you know, now, see, the richest people in the world have been exploiting us forever. And much like Gozer the Gozerian in Ghostbusters Afterlife, I think people are going to be like, we know. I'm sorry. Was this a news flash? That occurred. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Red Guardian. We appreciate your thing. I gotta go to the work now to feed my children. But we do so in it. Honestly, it's here's Chinnabog. And there's this whole thing about like honestly, there's got to be some kind of weird thing here where the human vessel of darkness. You rescued him once from a fire. It was before our time, but still, whenever you're around, everything seems so bright. It's Chernobog talking to Darkstar, and why Chernobog will not allow Purin to destroy Darkstar. And it is beautiful. And then by the end of it, you know, Crimson Dynamo's back. He's taken over again. They still don't know who the traitor is. And Crimson Dynamo says, as far as I'm concerned, there was never a traitor. We're all working together. We're all going to work together. Crimson Dynamo being the hero he was meant to be, standing up Iron Man style. And, of course, we find out that, of course, Red Widow was somehow the traitor all along. She actually blew it up because it was part of her evil oligarch plan to kazoo those Russians. To cause all this chaos in the first place. So, Winter Guard, number 4. It's a good book.
Oh, well.
Probably hugely insulting to the Russian people. What do I care? I'm German. So, you know. You got a book you want to talk about, Phil?
Yeah, I don't know if you read Death of Doctor Strange, Spider-Man number 1.
I did not get to it, but tell me about it.
It's really good. It starts with Ben and Felicia are in the hospital room with Peter, and then there's like a, I know, it's like a mystical. I called it like a mystical voicemail because it's basically Stephen Strange saying, "Well, if you're getting this message, I'm dead, so I need your help, Spider-Man. You know, I have a task for you." So they go to the Sanctum. And there's a funny scene in there, you know, Wong calls, you know, brings him in and stuff. And he's like, yeah, Strange is dead and stuff. And meanwhile, they see young Strange. Felicia's like, isn't that him right behind you? And she's like, no, that's complicated.
Wait. It's Mary Jane and Felicia?
No. It's a Ben and Felicia.
Oh, Ben Reilly and Felicia. Okay.
Yeah.
That works. I got you.
Yeah, because they basically Doctor Strange had like, a list. You know, it's basically because they've been doing, you know, they try to compare this to an old story and stuff, but it, you know, it's basically like, you know, all the little stuff Doctor Strange does, you know, battling like all the little minor demons in New York and stuff, and like there's a guy who like I guess lives in the sewers under is it by Central Park or something, and, you know, and Strange is like, yeah, this guy thinks we're always in the like this big life and death struggle, but he's like, but meanwhile, I'm just like trying to keep his albino alligators like hidden because if they ever get out into the real world, they're gonna get hunted to extinction by someone like Kraven the Hunter or something. So
Kraven the Hunter would totally do that. He is such a jerk.
Yeah, so Ben and Felicia convince that guy to turn around. But yeah, it's just them doing all his little errands, including I don't know who this. There's some woman, was it Jamina Garcia? And Strange is like, yeah, I don't know if he has a spell on her or what, but he's like, yeah, anytime she has a bad day, I just like show up with like a one of those soft pretzels or whatever, and it's so.
Oh, because she's like licorice stick. She's just one of these Omega level mutants who will destroy the universe if they ever have a bad day.
Maybe. I mean, they never explain if that's the case or not, but yeah.
Yeah, just give her the pretzel. Just give her the effing pretzel, okay? Just don't ask questions. We're all happy here. Yay, have a pretzel.
But it's a good issue because it's Jed MacKay, who was writing our Black Cat series, and of course he's writing Moon Knight now. So of course we get a 2-page appearance by Moon Knight also.
Everyone loves the Moon Knight. He has a show coming out.
Because they go to like battle something, and Moon Knight's like, I got it. It's fun.
Fair enough.
Because they tell him Strange is dead. He's like, I've been dead a few times myself. I wouldn't recommend it.
Yeah, it's not nice. Lots of people have been dead. It's a thing. We all die. And then sometimes we get to come back. All right. It sounds. I can't wait to read it. I have
it is
so many
good.
books.
Yeah, I telling you, read it. You will enjoy it.
I will read all these books because most of them are Marvel anyway.
Yeah.
And I want to read all these books. I just have to find the time before next Wednesday when more books will come.
Yeah, this was a very big week. This was probably my biggest week in a long time.
Yeah, they've been like, it's like, oh, these books are so light. Let me buy a couple extra books. They're like, that'll be $537.
I was gonna say at least 2 years. It's probably been the biggest in 2 years.
Let me tell you, this is my favorite book. Expressly because it is a backdoor pilot, clearly the most backdoor piloty book I've ever read for the upcoming She-Hulk series in January.
Yeah. And if you want to know how she's back in her original She-Hulk form, yes, read Avengers 50.
Oh yeah. No, I read it, Phil. I know.
Oh, did you?
These fellas can't. If these young people can't follow along,
just tell everyone else.
You got to do the required reading. Well, I mean, here's what I'm going to tell you, Phil. A lot of folks don't even know she wasn't in her original form this whole time.
I know.
There's like a lot of people like, oh no, the burn stuff. There's like people that have read She-Hulk in the Burn era, and that has been burned into their brain. Yeah.
Oh,
and
this
honestly, the superpowered judge, I'm a little not here for.
Yeah, I'm like,
I mean,
we needed.
Well, I guess here's what I'm going to tell you: the odds of an Omega level mutant becoming a judge. Although I guess this is your basic Beyonder problem, or as I will say, your licorice stick problem. There are people, for those who don't remember, Licorice Stick, he's a character from, again, Burn. He was an Omega level mutant who basically sent Nick Fury and
that guy,
the Fantastic Four back in time, except it wasn't really back in time. It was a whole hullabaloo.
But it looked like Fury killed Hitler. Yeah.
Well, no, because he played clarinet, and that's what they would. It's sort of how they call a record licorice pizza. Yeah, because it's black lacquer. So black lacquer was often called licorice in the olden days. So licorice is tasty. I love licorice. Well, his name was Licorice Stick because he played the music. It was like James Licorice Stick O'Malley or something. It wasn't O'Malley. But this is the premise. It's like, yeah, there are Omega level mutants every freaking where. And it's something She-Hulk is painfully aware of because every so often an Omega level mutant gets their Juris Doctorate and becomes a judge. And then they say, we need someone who can actually deal with the fact. Now, honestly, it would be much more smarter to get an Omega level mutant be a bailiff, but I guess you can make the argument that if an Omega level mutant was a bailiff, they probably wouldn't have the discipline basically, if you had the discipline to keep your Omega level mutant powers in check, you may not be a bailiff, but you might be a judge.
Yeah, but did they say she's a mutant? I know they said she was super.
Oh, well, I mean, she's super powered, yeah. So,
but I'm just saying, what if she was already a judge and then she accidentally got superpowers?
yeah, she fell into that Dan Germain juice. Yeah,
I mean, she basically got the Molecule Man treat.
Yeah, she got the thing, And to be fair, we don't know how powerful she is.
Yeah.
Because to be fair, there's both a legal power to her and a physical power to her.
Mm-hmm.
So it's essentially like, if Man Mountain Marco had his Juris Doctorate and you ran on him, he could punch you and you'd feel it. And maybe you'll stand down then because he is Man Mountain Marco. And the fact of the matter is that, he also has this legal power behind him that if you attack him, he has the protection of the entire state of New York behind him. So it might, honestly, it could just be, pretty decent PK. It could not be Omega level, but it sort of implies.
She can like hold them in place. It's when this fight breaks out in the courtroom, she can hold them in place. But we haven't seen much else.
Exactly, which is appropriate. It's like it's and this is typical of She-Hulk fare. It's a superpowered universe. Superpowered people exist, which makes for its own interesting. I'm really fascinated to see where this is going to go because it does end on a cliffhanger, Phil.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that when they start listening to She-Hulk, they're going to say, oh, this is how we play it out. This is how we do it. And they intentionally antagonize Bentley because clearly Bentley is up to no good. Though I do wonder if they're going to let Bentley 23 go with Bentley expressly because at the end there is more to the story than we're seeing unfold.
This would be Jen Walter's big comeback, Charlie Esser.
Well, you know what, Philip? I'm going to tell you something real quick. If you look at the next issue,
yes.
Did you look at the next issue?
Issue cover? All the different versions of the kids. Yeah. Yep.
Wait, all the different versions of that's all the different versions of the.
Yeah.
Oh, I missed that. See, I'm not as smart as you, Phil. That's why you're Phil Podcast Perich. All right, Philip. That is my last entry into this episode. Have anything you want to talk about before we go call it a day?
No, I think that's good, man. We hit a lot.
Philip, you want to give them all that great Capes and Lunatics contact info?
Why, yes, sir. So again, the Capes and Lunatics for the rest of the month, the rest of the year is going to be, I'm going to have interviews. We're going to have our Christmas special. So yes, all current news and comics come right here for the Super Connectivity. And send your thoughts. Again, like I said, I think Devil's Reign begins next week. Email us, capesandlunatics@gmail.com, or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And remember to follow Super Connectivity, all the other shows, all the social medias, YouTube channel. Again, please subscribe to our Patreon. Again, we're paying for this for ourselves. Or if you want Capes and Lunatics or Capes and Lunatics Sidekicks merch, everything is at Linktree, linktr.ee/Capes and Lunatics.
And, of course, if you would like to write to me in an old-fashioned email way, the way our mothers and fathers once did, do so at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. Of course, follow me on the Twitter as I live tweet what I want, when I want, at Charlie Esser. That's C-R-C-A... Oh, how do you spell that? That's C-H-A-C-H-A-R-L-I-E. E-S-S-E-R. You can look for the two E's in the middle. For what?
Equality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. All right, my dear friends. This has been another episode of Super Connectivity. It went a little long, but we love you anyway. I hope you stayed for the whole thing. I enjoyed connecting with you. I hope you come back next week and super connect with us. again. Good night.
Good night. And hey, we don't got no time for no Superior Spider-Man, man. We're getting Superior 4 miniseries in during Devil's Reign. Yeah.
They are so superior.
4 autos.
No waiting.
Lots of arms. Should call this superior connectivity.